Sunset might be one of the best Valorant maps yet, and I'll explain why in just a second. But I do want to mention that I should be live on Twitch doing an Imperium bundle giveaway. This thing's expensive at 8,700, and one of you guys, my viewers, can win it. Link down below. But anyways, let's talk about Sunset. Sunset is a map that I'm loving very rapidly. I already liked the idea when I was doing my Sunset kind of tour, looking around, but then I played a couple games with some streamers, and it's good. It is a solid map, but I'm hearing from the internet it's boring. It's a boring map, and I can kind of understand why. It's a little bit plain in the sense of how it's designed. Mid is a little bit open and plain with a small little pillar. A lot of the lanes are plain. Even the textures around the map are pretty plain. It's nothing over the top, and there is no gimmick minus a single switch door. This is all fantastic, and the reason it's fantastic is for a couple of reasons. Now, a lot of people are actually comparing it to Ascent once they play it. It's not in its design, it's not because it's orange like it's Ascent, it's because it plays a little bit similar to Ascent, but even more fast-paced, and I'm gonna explain why. Because if you take Ascent on how it works, the point of contacts are quick, but mid is a little bit long. Think of it like that, but mid also has very fast point of contacts with short walking distances. Let's take a look at the map where the barriers are. When you play mid, the second the barrier drops, you're already looking out to where the enemies are gonna peak, similar to Ascent, but the difference is whoever wins that gunfight takes mid rapidly because it's a lot smaller. Even on B site, similar idea, or on A site, similar idea. The minute the barriers drop, your point of contact comes out instantly, making rapid gunfights, rapid information, which leads to rapid decision making, which leads to rapid takes, rapid rotates. Everything about this map is fast paced and pretty simple. It's easy to understand. Personally, I played it only twice, and I already feel somewhat confident on it. Sure, I'm still not fully versed in it, but unlike how I felt with Pearl or Breeze, especially when it first came out, I don't feel nearly as lost. The understanding of this map simply makes sense, and I'm gonna wager that this is the future of Valorant map designs, because think about it, a lot of times reworks that come out do something similar. They change where the barrier positioning are, they change the angles you're gonna clear, and they change the design of point of contact. The initial point of contact sets the tone for the rest of the round, and it's the most important thing. With that being said, it's not perfect, and I actually think Sunset has one too many angles, to say the least. There is a lot to clear, and it can get a little exhausting to kind of keep moving your mouse, but at the same time, it is stubby and short enough where that's kind of the point. It's like peek clear, peek clear, peek clear, fight, 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 and that's what happens. It's very simple map overall, but if I'm gonna place a bet, I guess, roll the dice a little bit, I would see this map get a slight rework sometime in the far future, in which they would eliminate some of the corner checking, the close corner checking, to maybe slants or something a little bit easygoing. But we're gonna have to see, because initial impressions don't equal much else. The initial impressions on this map is pretty good based off what I asked from content creators who are playing with. It seems pretty universally liked, and then it has one little feature about it, and that feature is the fact that simplicity allows creativity from opponents or players or just in general. For example, Grim with his walls, there was a ton of walls because it's kind of open-ended. Here's some basic corridors, some windows, some boxes, and then building around them works really, really well. Or like the sites are really simple. They are simple to understand. Within an instant, when you're retaking a site, planting, playing objective, you can kind of understand where you're gonna need to retake, where you're gonna defend from, where they can rotate in from, and the rotations are really fast, so the action will happen quickly. And it's gonna be up to the player and their utility to make things creative. And I understand, it sounds like I'm just describing Valorant, but some maps make this very, very hard. With how big Breeze was, for example, playing creatively with your abilities didn't always work depending on the agent because the space was far too large. Or on Bind, it's just a little bit too cramped to the point where sometimes you can place a Sage wall and only one of the walls will end up blocking the area and the rest are kind of just hanging out the side, right? This is what I'm trying to say, and that's okay. Certain maps having certain agents that work well is solid, but Sunset seems balanced. Again, similar to Ascent. Across the board, if you are a main with any specific agents, I genuinely believe you can play most of them. I feel that most agents can find value, and I'm no professional, so if I'm wrong, that's completely fine, but it's definitely the first impression that I and other creators were having. But then there's some new little things. For example, B-side being kind of like split with the pillar in the middle, but you can plant all around it. This of course means far more options on how you're going to play after you plant the spike, way more post-plant options, yet the area itself is still simple. I kind of hope I'm making some sort of point clear, or maybe you guys are more lost than ever. It's the idea that they're able to keep the map simple, but by doing subtle things like, again, making the plant spots more open or giving you more options on where to plant, it's going to be then up to the players, the agents, and the team comp to decide how the game rolls. Giving more power to the gameplay, the gunplay, the abilities always feels very, very good. The map isn't dictating how everything runs, and the players are in more control. And that's how I feel when I'm playing Sunset. Again, I'm open to being completely wrong, but this is how it feels. Something else I feel is a confidence on a multitude of guns. And I feel like the guns have their pros and cons across the map. There are some moments where I really don't want a Stinger, or I really don't want a Spectre, because it just really won't do the job at a certain angle because the range is too far. But at the same time, if I know where I'm playing and I do want to play close range guns, it'll definitely work. Now, sure, being judged in a ratty corner will happen, and I think that's this map's biggest weakness, but it's overshadowed by the fact that I feel like the map is balanced. Like, even when it comes to guns, gun selection, what you want to play, it is genuinely balanced, and that is great. Just having options to play a map in a multitude of ways is basically peak map design. Now, it's going to be absolutely hilarious if this map comes out and everyone hates it, and only time will tell how the pros especially, and I don't mean pro players as in like actually competitive, but even the Radiants and Immortals, and how do they design the game around it? What will the meta become? And that could completely break a map. Let me make that clear. A certain meta could completely make a map terrible, but as of right now, this map is looking so promising that I'm happy to say that I hope that future map designs take inspiration from this one when it comes to balance, simplicity, and allowing the players to be in control more than the map being in control. Anyways, let me know what you think down below.